You are listening to the audio production of What the Bible Says About Divorce and Remarriage by Wayne Grudem, published by Audiobooks. This book was originally published by Crossway and is read by Michael Beck. Introduction. According to the Bible, what are the legitimate grounds for divorce, if any? Is divorce morally acceptable in a case of physical abuse or neglect? If a divorce is granted for biblically legitimate reasons, is remarriage always allowed? Can a divorced person become a church officer? What reasons are given for the no remarriage view? In marriage, a man and woman commit to live with each other as husband and wife for life. In order for them to keep this commitment, both parties have to remain in the marriage. But when one party decides to leave the marriage, either to be with another partner or simply to end the existing relationship, it becomes impossible for the remaining spouse to faithfully fulfill his or her commitment. A husband, for example, cannot live with and act as a husband to a wife who is living with another man. Therefore, the question of divorce arises. Under what circumstances, if any, is it morally right to obtain a divorce and thereby dissolve a marriage? And if divorce occurs, is it morally right for a divorced person to marry someone else? These and other questions will be addressed in this audiobook. A. Divorce and its consequences. 1. The divorce rate is higher, but not as high as is sometimes said. Divorce has now become more common than it was in previous generations. In the early part of the 20th century, the divorce rate in the United States was approximately 0.9 per 1,000 total population. Throughout the 20th century, the divorce rate slowly increased, then rose rapidly in the 1970s and 1980s as many states passed no-fault divorce laws. The divorce rate peaked in the early 1980s at approximately 5.0 per 1,000 total population, approximately 1.2 million divorces. After 1985, the divorce rate gradually declined so that in 2018 there were approximately 782,038 divorces or annulments in America, or 2.9 per 1,000 total population. But the number of divorces per 1,000 population has gone down primarily because many couples are now living together instead of getting married, and more people are remaining single. There were approximately 10.6 marriages per 1,000 people in the early 1980s, but only 6.8 marriages per 1,000 people in 2009 to 2013, and 6.5 per 1,000 people in 2018. However, it is not true that 50% of marriages end in divorce today, a statistic that is sometimes repeated in popular media reports. After extensive statistical analysis, social researcher Shaunti Feldhahn reported in 2014, according to one of the most recent Census Bureau surveys, 72% of people who have ever been married are still married to their first spouse, and the remaining 28% are not all divorced persons because the total also includes those who have been widowed through the death of a spouse, a category that accounts for perhaps as many as 8%. That suggests that somewhere around 20 to 25% of first marriages end in divorce. Feldman concludes, imagine the difference to our collective consciousness if we say most marriages last a lifetime rather than half of marriages end in divorce. The divorce rate is even lower for those who attend church regularly. Feldhahn says, weekly church attendance alone lowers the divorce rate significantly, roughly 25 to 50%, depending on the study. The popular belief that the rate of divorce is the same inside and outside the church is based on a deeply entrenched misunderstanding about the results
Sample complete. Ready to continue?